All right. I'm jumping back in. When Windows around. Okay. Early hug report for next week. I did not see it until after for Airdoc, who posted another solution for this, which is here. I'm picking up right where I left off, basically on the IS3170 whatever, this LED driver. If you happen to be catching this and you did not see the prior stream from today, I guess first, thank you for watching, but there will be a first half of this, so to speak. If you want to go back to the video before this, this is the one where I really started working on this. So if you're interested in the context, that's where you can find it. We're trying to get LEDAnimation to work on this, or more specifically, I'm trying to figure out what's become clear to me now is trying to figure out the different possible ways to get LEDAnimation to work on this, and then ideally try to mold things in such a way where there doesn't need to be multiple ways if we can. It seems like the crux of it is the core module versus the Python layer library, where the core module is only on the one driver device, the eyeglasses specific device, which it turns out I do actually have one of those, which makes sense. I would have probably figured it out if I would have thought about it a bit more, because I got the Ada box with it, which came with it, and it came with the driver also, the driver board. This thing. But this, I think, is the only device with the core module currently enabled. Although Mark was saying that they have tested on some other ones, and it was successful. Speaking of which, I'm gonna back to, never did upload my full code for the sports team animation library, but I'm forgetting what I did. Sure, yeah. To look at any and all. At this point, I'm trying to take all the examples I can find and wrap my head around the differences between them, and then I work from there. Let's see. So we can try this out later. I didn't unpack it and get it out and get it ready, so it's not ready to use. But I do actually have one, so we can at least test it at some point. That'll be interesting to use the core one and try to figure out the differences. So I started a stab at making this work for the QD matrix thing. I essentially took a copy of LED glass animation. I did this, I was not on the stream. I did this after I got ready for the meeting, before the meeting actually started. I took a copy of this and I started trying to change it to where it would work with the matrix. That was my idea. Because what I noticed is that the LEDAnimation example uses, it doesn't use the PixelBuff thing. So like before, we had talked about trying to make the PixelBuff thing work with the Python version of the driver thing, but instead it's actually looking for the core implementation rather than the Python one. And And the way the existing glasses animation is it doesn't use PixelBuff, although it could, right? Like PixelBuff, the thing about PixelBuff is it is the NeoPixel interface or whatever. LEDAnimations should be able to work with that, and we proved that it could on one of the basic ones, and then Nerodoc's code here, as well as I think some of the issue code that somebody, I forget the name right now, but the person who posted the issue, that shows it can work with PixelBuff, which I guess then brings us to the question, do we want to try to only, like, do we need both of these, really? Do we need LED glasses animation and PixelBuff? Or should we just have the PixelBuff one, and then this animation thing here makes use of the PixelBuff one, or vice versa? We have LED glasses animation, and therefore we don't need PixelBuff to do it, which is how this part's written today, in which case we could then make a, like I started RGB matrix animation, we could use that with LEDAnimation. I think I leaned towards the PixelBuff way. I know I had started the other way. I started making this animation, but the more I think about it, the more I think the PixelBuff way kind of makes sense. If we could make this PixelBuff class be able to work the same for the core driver versus the Python driver, then this essentially is the glue that sits between LEDAnimation and the IS31. And then we don't need an animation class. We don't need this type of helper class here. Instead, we make a PixelBuff, we give the PixelBuff to LEDAnimation. Now, on the glasses, it's not just a grid, right? It's got two rings and multiple parts of a grid. Accounting for all of that still needs to happen somewhere in one of the drivers, which in the case of the LEDAnimation here, I think it's using something to do with the mapping is where that magic happens in here, which is passed into this. There's a couple of these values, which ultimately end up going into this sequence, which ends up being the thing for the map. So that kind of logic still needs to exist somewhere. That will have to be somewhere for the cases where it's like laid out specially or whatever. For the grids, or it's not even so much a grid as it is just a single line, even though it's laid out zigzag or whatever, it's technically still just a line, an incrementing index or whatever. All of those could just be initialize PixelBuff, pass that to LEDAnimation, and you're done, I think. And then PixelBuff, it can also, I think, take the mapping, right? This has mapping. So this one could, even though this one is not actually used in the example that exists for the glasses, it could be. So that may be the action item here, is convert the existing example to use PixelBuff, which will get rid of the need for LED glasses animation as its own helper class. And in doing the first part of that, we also are going to make it so that PixelBuff class here can use the Python version of the module. Therefore, it can work anywhere, essentially. How's it going, Johnny? And the code that Nerodoc has here basically just did overriding the write function to make it say this, which it looks like write takes a mapping, takes a buffer, and pretty much just set some stuff inside of self, which is self would be the this driver. So can we just have this inside of this? Right now, this is the root base class. Again, the Python implementation of it, not the, there is a core one separate, which we haven't touched really, in my case. This doesn't have right currently. But if we added right to it and we made it basically this, could it not then work? Let me run this code and then also change it after. But we see if we're actually doing it how we're thinking. Gamblers posted up the sports. Go. Nice. Is that another one? Is that a different one? I don't recall seeing that one before. This one, okay, so that is definitely there. It's importing the core module. Strip? I don't recall seeing that one before. It looks like, though, this one is not using the PixelBuff. It does have Comet. Let's see, where does Comet... So Comet's here, and it's strip left, strip right. Where do those come from? Strip left. Okay. 24. Strip left, strip right. So those are the... Oh boy. Okay, yeah. So those are not the core module. Those are the one from strip. Those are this. What is strip? Does that exist in here? Have strip. Huh. This might be something custom, I guess. Did you say anything else about it? My guess would also be maybe this was before possibly those other ways existed, the pixel map or the LED animation. This might have been just a separate implementation at the time. Did you say anything? Just the link. Okay. Okay. We'll keep that one in mind. We're going to run this code from NearDoc, and then we're going to start tweaking it backwards so that we can hopefully have it to where the user code will not have to do this. Ideally, we want that to be inside the library. User code doesn't worry about it, and then the rest of all of this works the same as it's written here. That's my goal right now. Of PixelBuff version that didn't end up working. We can get rid of that. It's actually in that other larger file as well. I just moved out of it to get a cleaner start before the meeting when I was still working on this. So we should be able to just run this how it is now, make sure it's actually working. I don't know if I've got libraries. No, okay, yeah, we're good here. Close some of this stuff, huh? Oh, no. Back. Discard, I guess. I did get some insight into the intention as well, which is nice. Mark Gambler mentioned the core implementation came after the Python implementation, and it was intended to be essentially the same. They're both like the lowest level driver, essentially, of that chip. They are intended to be the same, although they ended up slightly different. So that code is working, and that's just straight up what Niradoc posted. And so what I want to go is comment that and see how it fails. Should be missing a function or something, yeah. And then, so what we would want then is, we want our base thing to have a write. Our base driver, the Python one, to have a write. And then I actually want to look one more time at here, and I think I just closed these tabs, unfortunately, but this one has a function called write, which takes a mapping and a buffer. Write the buffer on the I2C bus to the driver chip. Map the pixels to the buffer in the order addressed by the driver chip. So if our Python implementation had that same function, which Niradoc has kindly written for us here, nope, wrong one. So theoretically, it could be on the this one, the ColorXY one. That in our case would also work, I think. But I think the root, this one makes the most sense. But I have a full understanding of what I'm doing exactly. But that would just be right. Self-mapping buffer. Well, that's the same. We don't need that. Do we have a auto show or anything? No, this doesn't have auto show. It's actually called, I think is it auto write, I think? No, okay. A different layer. Well, that makes sense, I guess, because this one I think is your lowest level. I think the lowest level is just a list of PWMs. 3 times as many as there are neopixels. If we save that, does this just work? It does. Far. Okay. So do we think there's any animations that it might not work with? We looped, right? We got back to red. Not sure how many were in there. Chase, comment, sequence. Ah, yeah, okay, we have 3 chases. Let's try some difference. Chase, let's do a comet. I'm gonna steal them from the examples in LEDAnimation. I don't remember the exact arguments and stuff. Speaking of LEDAnimation, I need to go update my PR there. I do have a PR, I think. TechTrick, I think, maybe reviewed it. Some stuff to, additional things to document, if I recall right. I need to circle back to that. Not enough hours in the day sometimes. We only need the constructor, though. Actually, I don't need to make it a variable. Just add the comment. I should have probably put it at the beginning, but I didn't, so we'll wait for that to run through. Nice. Okay. Comment seems good. You could initialize one of those grid map thingies if you wanted it to be and not like zigzagging like it was, but we didn't do that. It will just go in the default order. Oh, it went backwards this time. Interesting. Okay. Nice. Is there a bigger... Is there like an all animations or something? All animations. Oh. Blink. Rainbow Sparkle. I don't know if that's the right name. Base. That one maybe, or Marquee. Fade. Rainbow Cycle? Mark? With that as solid, maybe? Rainbow Comet. One of my favorites. Matrix Text. That's what I like to call that one. Rainbow Marquee. Chase. Maybe that one's Chase. Custom Color Chase. There's our Comet going the other way. We already have the... Yeah, I guess we must have. So I think we looped. Yeah. We're back to Blink. Okay, so everything in all animations works. Honestly, I'm thinking we're good there. I would say, I guess the main other thing is we would want to make sure that it doesn't break the core one. I mean, it can't really, right? For the built-in, like for the specific device, it's not going to be using the Python implementation. Therefore, this function not going to exist for it, not going to change anything. Pretty sure. It will be worth probably busting out that that specific driver device just to make sure the examples run. My understanding is the code that we would have changed here would not be used by that little NRF52840 driver thing, so it should not have any effect on it. But I definitely don't want to like break it for the people using the actual specific thing. We'll want to test that, but I think this is good. So what I'm gonna do is, well, I have a slightly modified. I think I have something slightly modified in here besides this. Didn't we made another change? I'm going to go to a stock one. I'm going to go to a stock one with just that change to try to isolate it as like, this is the only difference. Make sure, because we had like the tuple to color. Did I fix that? Maybe did that end up being necessary? No, I don't remember. So that's what we'll find out. I'm going to keep this one, even though I don't think it'll end up getting used, just in case, though. But then after that, I'm just going to go back to main. Make sure we have the most up-to-date. Hey, why is this here? Doesn't have right though, which is good. I don't know why. Did I guess I never committed is why. Here we go, okay. I don't know who's... what do we call this? We call this PixelBuff Python driver PixelBuff, Py driver PixelBuff. Okay. So as of directly right now, it should be fully stock and it should not work. Okay. Nope. Does it have any other typing in it? These are basically just going to match the core, which is this. Turns none. So after this, one throws me off usually. Save that. Does this actually just work now? Oh, the import didn't go inside the try catch. Nice. But yeah, we did not end up needing the color thing. Or where did I stick that before? But it turns out it's not necessary, I guess. What else? We should probably test the non-LED animation examples as well, just to make sure that adding the right function has not like broken something else. Like if something was expecting right to come from a parent or whatever, maybe we could have just overwritten it and caused something to break. Why is this red? Loose punctuation. I mean, kind of. I don't know. Okay, I didn't do this one, and it's got that too. That's like judging it on English instead of docstring syntax. We wanted to be not defined. I think probably one of these three failed, which then caused this one to not succeed, which then meant that that was not imported. I guess this is either outdated on my computer or that I just don't have frame buff. Shoot. Ah, why does that copy sometimes? That's been happening to me a lot lately. Like something to do with the formatting or the color or something is like getting copied also, I think. There we go. Oh, this is down to 2 columns now instead of 3. It does go to 1 if you get small enough, though. That's odd, isn't it? We had 3 before. I don't know. Like I was saying earlier, I tried messing with that one day. Came up empty. Okay. So then the other thing is, I think there should be an example. Actually, I'm going to make 2 examples. I'm going to make the all LED animations example, and I'm going to make the simpler, like only a few. I almost want to make 3, actually. I kind of want to make the all one, the one with like 3, and then the simple test with like blink, and that's it. I'm going to do that. So this is, it's tough that this is called animation. Maybe I mean, this should change, truthfully, to be glasses animation, maybe. I don't know, we can use matrix on the new one. That's... Wasn't that the other way around earlier? Does it matter? Maybe this device it's the same and therefore it doesn't matter? Unused? Well, that one should be used, shouldn't it? Oh no, not technically, I guess, because we use that and that extends that. Fair enough. I guess we'll get rid of. I don't trust my... I don't trust my grammar enough to know if that's actually correct or not. I mean, I would hope that they would not just steer you incorrectly, but I also think it may not understand the context as much as it thinks it might. Nothing immediately wrong jumps out, but I know my own limitations enough to know that I do not know if that's correct or incorrect. But we don't need that. Refer buffer. Oh, what does that do? Mapping, which then gets passed into the PixelBuff. And now that's where the animations are going to come from. And we can actually ditch these. We need these size. Are any of these used? I mean, these are used for the old ones. Yeah, I don't think any of those are used. Our imports to be where the imports belong. Okay, so I want to reference it, but I'm going to take current version, put it back here. Here it works. And then I actually got to run to the restroom as well, so I will be right back. Okay. Looks like it did make it through. That's our all animations, and then I think we do one that's a sequence with just like 2 or 3, and then we do one that's just a single, and that's it. Int got float, that's interesting. Might just be typed wrong. Not gonna mess with that right now. Oh, that's interesting. Oh. Yeah, so I guess technically this could be now is it union? I don't know the right way to do this. Now it can be 2 types. I wish there was just an example. I think it's just union square brackets, I guess. So it could be the built-in one, or it could be the one from this library. Which we would express by saying there we go. Now this one knows it's the right thing. Of. Oh. Then all animation, we're gonna have animation sequence will be like blink, ColorCycle, comet. Let's just do 3. I think another example, I don't want to add it with this one, I don't think. This one I'm focused on just the core functionality, but another good example would be one that uses one of those mappings, one of those wing, they call it like wing, horizontal wing mapping or whatever is how the examples, I think, name the existing thing for the Neotrellis and the Featherwing, where the grid, essentially you can treat either rows or columns as individual LEDs, or even more broadly, you can treat groups of LEDs as individual LEDs. The group could be a row or a column, but it could actually also just be an arbitrary group as well. Might be interesting to do one where the group is like a 2x2 square, so you get like a chunkier, a blockier animation. That might be kind of interesting looking. This time we should have just the 3. Comet, blink. Back to comet to me. And this one? Oh, comment. Yeah. Fair enough. Accidentally cut one out. We do blink first. Okay, blink, comment, and then color cycle. Which is like the full-on chameleon thing. And then we had color cycle. Specifically, it's magenta to orange, which honestly, those colors are fairly close. I almost want to just use rainbow. Is rainbow the default? Yeah. There we go. And then one more. Oh. This one will do just blink. We don't need sequence, we don't need cycle, we do need blink. That should be it. We're not going to make a sequence, we're just going to go blink.animate. We are not running it on the device right now. There we go. Blinky blinky. I will have to stop that. I feel like a squirrel if that thing's going. Interesting, this pattern. I saw this pattern while it was blinking. Must be like technically doing them kind of sequentially or whatever, and for some reason it starts with that. I almost want to get it back to off. I guess I could my timing a bit better maybe. Go. Alright, do we need anything else for this one specifically to be ready? PR it. I think. Yeah, I already fixed that though. Did I? Oh. Wait a minute. Did I only fix it on the... Let's see. Every time. It's not true. Well, for me, I guess it'll get me about half the time. Not quite every time. Definitely not none of the time. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, most of this is just import order. Looks worse than it is. So the thing is, it wants these ones to come after all the ones from other libraries. Whoops. It's going to want that in all of them. White, amber, magenta, orange. Is magenta the same as pink? We're using enumerate. That's what it's saying, right? Basically the same code, or the same functionality, I guess I should say. Not the same code, obviously, but sure it actually works. Hopefully there's no more changes that I did only in there. Oh, and I'm also, I think, just in the REPL, yeah. Okay. Blink is working. Do one of the bigger ones. Oops. Okay, so far so good, but I will let it run through the full cycle here, just off chance that maybe one of them could randomly be messed up somehow. I don't think that's very likely, but okay. That's where we started. This build is good. Our changes are the new method, right, plus its typing imports. The typing change for union to say either the core one or the Python one. Only change there, and then the 3 new examples. I don't know why we don't just use the same way that every other repo has been. Why is it different? Okay. This feels like how this thing is different about this repo. Yeah, on the right branch and remote. I'm gonna cancel. Foamy guy is definitely foamy guy. It's the only thing I could think, I guess. Weird. Push failed. I think we just figured out what the difference was. The difference was that my repo doesn't exist. So yeah, it'd just do all that for no actual reason, basically. Yeah. I wish it could just be like, hey, that repo doesn't exist, instead of like, hey, please log in again, using this multi-step process involving browser and another device. Is this new? I don't recall seeing this. I don't. The text here does not really feel like it goes with this header, right? Whether or not you copy only the main branch, you can still contribute back to this repo by adding your own branch. That's true either way. I mean, I guess I'll start with only main. Any other non-main branches that already exist, I don't need. Would assume anything that would exist would just be a PR or whatever anyway that's already been merged. Okay, so I have a remote now, so theoretically, can this actually push this time? Why does this, like, have a list of things that it thinks? Still doing that. Took me to here. I mean, I guess I'll do the login thing again. It's kind of bad. I think it's gonna work. Like 90+%, it's gonna just give me the exact same error, which says push failed. Yes, maybe because I chose main branch only, so I suppose I should have unchecked that. Arrow 403 not authorized. Only valid within same origin. Okay. Like we're further away at this point. Stuck loading. No anonymous, well, because authentication failed. Is it not just logging in with the same login that every other repo uses? I've pushed to other repos today. So this page is just broken now. Just click authorize, it goes to loading. It's loading forever. This never succeeds. If you click authorize again, it says unauthorized. Also, this doesn't get any kind of callback, so it doesn't know that it failed. But why can I not push? That's actually kind of frustrating. Awesome. There's 2 of those. Oh. Yes. There's not actually 2 of those. Well, there are, but they're different. Can't update. Has no tracked branch. Okay. Restart the IDE sooner is the answer. Don't listen when the IDE tries to solve Git problems for you in this particular case, it turns out. Oh, the pop-ups with this too. Oh man. I hope that's gonna get fixed. Is that like GitHub hover pop-up not going away? 2 weeks. Yes. Oh my god, 1,000,000 times yes. Well, I feel kind of bad being like me too, but I also want as many people as possible to be like me too, so that it will hopefully get fixed. Alright, well, I feel like I've done everything I can do, which is not much, but it's everything I can do. Short of switching to Chrome, which I guess I could do since it seems like Firefox only issue, what that thing was saying. Let's see. Just edit that actually. I have to run to the restroom again here in a minute. Coffee's going right through me. Try to dance here for a minute while I finish this out, though. There's too many of these. Okay, BRB. Okay, you're back. Let's just make sure we did not break the glasses functionality at all by running the existing animation one for the glasses. Actually, a little bit curious what happens if we just run it. I assume just a bunch of stuff is out of order or something fails to initialize because it's a wrong number. Okay. Gotta put the actual code in. Never open up TO after I restarted. It just works, but it's like, doesn't know the order, so stuff looks weird. Kinda cool looking though. Inside draw. Is that, that's not in the IS31. Is it? I don't think so. I didn't see it in the diff. This is on it in here. Probably will speed it back up as well. Okay. I do want to run on the actual glasses. I'll let it restart. I assume it's not necessarily happy about hot plugging. Oh, also, I just left it in the REPL anyway. There we go. Okay. And then any other examples that we want to make sure? I should, let's test out the non-LED animation examples. Like, honestly, let's just run all these we can. Rings, it's good. That one's not using animation, just color wheel. Oh. sorry, Rainbow IO, I assume. Yeah. Native. So this one at least displays. Interesting. This one does end up making a frame buffer display, basically, so that it can have a label in addition to animations, actually. But it does use the built-in module. So if I understand right, this should not work on this device unless we were to rebuild CircuitPython with that module. Could try it on the one's for the matrix. That one is also, I think, for the matrix. Well, one doesn't actually say. Very fast. And the order is kind of funky just because doesn't have the mapping or anything involved here. Okay, so all those examples still work fine. The only one we can't really check with this configuration is the native one. And then RGB swirl is expecting to run on the matrix. So let me go back to the matrix. Is it moving? I don't think it's moving. Oh. Yeah, no such device. Is it from before? Still failed. 5 show such device. .right? This feels like directed by hot plugging it. Hit the reset button. All right, now it's running. It's actually moving. So now it's got red at the top. Now it's got yellow at the top. It's got green at the top. Okay. So yeah, I think it did not like being hot plugged, unplugged, replugged. So native is the only other one. And I mean, we certainly should not have affected that at all, since the stuff we changed was not touching it. I mean, PixelBuff, we changed the typing annotation. That's it for that. That's it. Okay. Whoops. Repo. Unplug this. That back to a blank. BRB, I'm gonna go get the other device. Okay. Plug in the stemma first. It's definitely made for the glasses. It's got some sample code which does some font, some kind of animation going. But not CircuitPy. Does connect to the serial, but Control C doesn't do anything. C1. Is that a reset button? Oh, nope. Here we go. native copy, paste, save, fails because it doesn't have the libraries. Could do device manager or Circup. Should make that be the run for this. Really? It's in the repo, I think. It's not for the glasses? It looked like it was not having the right mapping, huh? I have left eye, right eye. Worth noting too, this is not the modified library. This would have gotten installed from here, which would be the currently released one. So nothing I did could have changed it. Seems like it's written for the eye. The eyes. I don't know, something definitely does seem like it's not where, like it's kind of vaguely like you got the rounds going there and it seems fine, but the text is, you can tell it's like trying to make some text, but it's not legible. If anybody who's watching happens to have access to these glasses and the driver board for it and wants to give it a try, that would be most appreciated for sure. Let's just get the bus IO. Should this using board.i2c make any difference? Mapping, matrix, no ring. But that's because the ring is used independently in this case. You want auto refresh false, maybe? No, because isn't something we need to call refresh. If I understand right, this should give us only the circles and no text. Or, yeah, okay. Different speeds. Interesting. 4x15. I don't know where the size comes from. It's not 15 pixels tall, though. Should we do some kind of full reset again since we had the weirdness earlier? I don't know, something is, it's like it's got the wrong colors or it's got the wrong speed or the data is getting jumbled or something. Curious to try 733. Let's take a minute to copy. It's a little slower than some of the other devices copying it. I suppose I don't use NRF52840 all that much though, so frame of reference is not really the same. Crash on this one? Connected. Interesting. Well, I mean, if the I2C connection's not solid, that could definitely be got different. Oh. I gotta turn it around. I think that's working though, right? A little tough for me to read, if I'm honest, but Matrix, no, native, something pix. Need a paper maybe. Hello from CircuitPython on native display IO. There we go. Okay. It is much easier to read with it. It's dampening it a bit, to my eye at least. So yeah, seemingly straight up 733 doesn't work compared to 8 RC. Let's re-verify. Suspect we'll probably have to unplug, replug again. What are you? Okay. I guess I'll make an issue for that in the core, since that's a difference between 733. Okay, one more time, back to 7. Pretty much yellow. I'd say that's yellow. We'll try to narrow that down further. Admit that for now. I think I'm probably going to wrap it up for now as well. Why is this different? Oh, it's just longer because of RC. That makes sense. Okay. Ah, that did not do what I wanted. And I will ping Gambler. In fact, he may be interested in that, or if nothing else, it'd certainly be good if we could get another person to try it and verify that it's doing the same thing. I need that to one box because it literally is the one box that's directly before this, so. Alright, we'll post that. If anybody who's watching happens to have the glasses and the driver, feel free to give it a try and just leave a comment on the issue if you can, letting us know if it works the same way for you, as in you get the jumbled up RGB colors that don't work right for the text, or if yours works correctly. That'd be good to know, as much additional information as we can get as far as like testing it out to verify that it actually is behaving the same way that mine is, and that not some other thing going on in my environment that's somehow influencing it. That's definitely most appreciated. Yeah, what else do we got to say? Definitely thanks to NearDoc for sharing the sample code that ended up getting this working. We just took the write function that was in that example that NearDoc posted and moved it into the library. That ended up being the basis of the PR. You know, one thing I did not, I should have mentioned this in the PR, I think, right? Should have mentioned that. There, just so those are actually linked here. Okay. All right. I think that's going to do it for now. Thank you for watching along, everybody. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Thank you, of course, again to NearDoc and everybody else who helped out in the chat. Let's see, I'll be back probably, let's see here. Think through. Have any plans in the evenings this week? So probably Friday for sure. Like I'll be back for deep dive for sure on Friday. I may pop in before that. It's kind of the same drill though. You know the drill at this point. If you're interested in getting notifications for that, you can follow me over on Twitch. Then you'll get the ping if I pop on a random evening or whatever. But otherwise, I'll definitely be back for deep dive on Friday. And yeah, have a good evening, everyone. Thanks again for hanging out, and I will catch you all next time. See ya.